So I put this question out on Twitter, and if you're not following me at TonyPizzaGuy, make sure you do, because I'll get all your thoughts, suggestions, input here, and maybe we can go ahead and change the future of WWE SuperCard. I don't know. But I asked this question, and I wanted to know your guys' feedback on what people were thinking about WWE SuperCard and the eventual WrestleMania 35 tier drop. We do know that the tier probably coming out sometime. WrestleMania 35 right around the corner. So let's go ahead and answer some of these thoughts that you have for WWE SuperCard. And the question I posed was, what do you want to see in WWE SuperCard when WrestleMania 35 tier drops eventually? So we had a lot of good responses out of here, and let's go ahead and just take a look at some of them and see if maybe those are the suggestions that we want, and if we can have something great for WWE SuperCard going in the future. Maybe we can change the game, maybe not a new season, but maybe some updated changes. Let's see. Adam Chapman says, I want an updated tier pull graphic and faster way to train up cards. Card training takes way too long. Also, full-time quests. I do agree that full-time quests should be a thing. Right now, as it sits, the quests are only being run during the events. You know, there was certain quests going on during Over the Limit. We know that. I believe that quest should be a thing that should be going on constantly, whether it's a weekly quest, whether it's a monthly quest, whatever they are. I think quests are just something that adds a little bit of challenge to the game and makes it go a lot longer. We have those daily challenges that update, but we need those quests to be that weekly and the monthly. When they originally announced quests to us, when we went out to Cat Daddy Studios and check it out, I actually thought that they should have quests be all the time, and they kind of made it sound like quests were going to be all the time, but it took forever, and it seems like they're only running it during certain events. So I think quests all the time would be great. As far as the tier animation pull goes, I think that's great. I think that would be cool. And also, as far as making it easier to train cards, I think that's something they could definitely work on as far as training up your cards. But however, that's kind of the in-between thing where you have the yes, no, maybe so, I don't know. Thing is, they want you to keep playing the game, but they don't want you to rank up super fast. But they do want you to be able to grind in those tiers and get up there. So it's kind of a yes or no here. I think what they could do is make it easier to train up your cards, but once they're actually trained together, you know, when you make a pro, I think you can make it a lot harder to level up that pro and max that pro out. I think that would be the nice trade-off there. Yeah, it's easy to get a pro, but when you get that pro, you still have to train that up and level that up. That's going to take a little bit longer. So it'll boost you up a little bit right away when you can train them easier, but then it won't make it overpowered. David came out and said, I want to see more cards in the tier. Combine the current tier pull animation with the old one from season 4. More NXT UK Superstars cards, weekly resetting quests, less network errors, kicking out mid-game, slightly lower tier pull rate, cheaper, less packs, and confirmation when buying them. So there you go. We have a lot of suggestions from here. We'll kind of hit on multiple ones that we always see all the time. Again, they want to mess with the tier poll. I already talked about that. They want more superstars for the tier, which I think is very good. You brought up the NXT UK people and how they should focus on them. I think what you could do is continue to make the longevity of a tier instead of introducing more tiers. I know the WrestleMania 35 tier is going to be that big one, but I think if you have more cards in that tier, constantly adding like people that you want, like NXT UK people, like was said there, that would be the way to keep the tier fresh, and you could have unique animations and stuff for those. Like we saw in the past, we had the Aleister Black card, which still I'm going on and saying that's one of my favorite cards, the Aleister Black card with that image. If they could do something unique like that and then make the tier feel unique, even though you have this, instead of making a whole bunch of new tiers and new cards and adding all this stuff, just add more to what you currently have that are keeping people to go, oh, okay, Rhea Ripley, I want that card. Let's make that happen. Keith Lee, all right, let's make that happen. You know, you get those guys that you want to see, and you're finally going to get to see them in that tier and make that a thing where it's like, okay, the tier's going there and we're adding more cards. The other thing you could do is make it a little bit challenging to get to plus of that tier. If you're going to add more cards to the tier, you should probably make the plus get a little bit harder to get to that. But I think just adding more of those cards and being able to keep it fresh for that tier will make it less likely that they need to introduce more tiers and just kind of keep the game still going. Belt Fan Dan came out and said, teardrop rate lowered. Maybe something where you can keep your extra TBG charge cards. A way to speed up training of cards prior to proing, even if that's a premium method. So there's some very good suggestions here. One of the big ones would be being able to keep those TBG charge cards. I think that's an okay idea, except here's the flip on this that I would like to see. You should be able to take your charges from Team Battleground and let your teammates have them. You should be able to take those charges and apply them to your entire team. I think that would make for much more interesting Team Battleground play, and it would make it more competitive because most of the teams would be able to charge their cards, so it would come down to the skill of actually playing the Team Battleground matches and winning those matches. So what would need to be done would be like, let's say that I want to help out my team. Well, I've already got all my charges done. What I can do is I can start charging for other ones and I can apply them to my teammates. That would keep things very, very interesting and keep things fresh. I really do like that. I think that's a feature that Team Battleground should be, because I know everybody always asks me, what do I do with extra charges if I ever have them? Well, you can't really do anything. You can get some extra ones, but then they just go away when the next Team Battleground hits. So what I would do, obviously, take those charges, let you charge your teammates, and from there, you could have that competitive matches when you're going into the finals of like that, when you're finally playing the matches in the charge phase, then you do the matches. That would be more competitive. And then also he came in and said speed up training cards, even if it's proing, even if it's a premium method. I don't know if you want to do a pay method to speed up proing your cards. I mean, that's something we talked about with the proing of the cards. I think, again, you could make it easier to pro your card to make a perfect pro, but once it's perfectly pro'd, it'll take a little bit longer to get that one to the top and make it like the best card there is. So that would be something that I would like to see. Mr. Money in the Bank actually came out and said, I want belt images back, Keith Lee card, promo cards / packs from Spring, Beach Blast, Xmas, Valentine's, in tickets, BP, PvP store. And now it's all undercards for the RD and the Team Ring Domination. Option to switch between procs, aka Phenomenal Forum and Styles Clash. Less pay to win, old Money in the Bank cards to earn, etc. Now the most viable thing out of here, I think, would be being able to switch the procs, which would be whatever finishing move they have. I think that would be something very, very cool to add to the gameplay, because like you said, we have the Styles Clash, Phenomenal Form. You could add either one of those to your superstar, and then that would determine how they actually play. Yeah, it could just be an animation, but it also could be the stat change. And that would keep something very, very fresh, because if you can choose what your finishing maneuver is on the card, not only would that be like another enhancement to the card, but it would make it play a lot more different. And there'd be a lot more strategy that goes into the game. Depending what you choose, going up against somebody with the same leveled card and the same abilities, I mean, you could have that Phenomenal Forum, and that could take out the Styles Clash, or if the Styles Clash could be better than Phenomenal Forum, whatever you want to make it. But I think that would make for something very, very interesting in the future. Piper's Pick came out and said, I want more information on players' wins / losses expanded. I want team shards, team points, team charges for the last event. That way you can see who are the freeloaders in the game. I actually really do like that. I think expanding on the team stats would make it so much better. The one thing that I do notice is when we're doing a team event, you actually have to keep track of who did the charges in Team Battleground, who got the wins, who got the most shards, all that stuff. And if you could add that into the stats of the game, you can actually see as your team's going, oh, well, this guy didn't charge. This guy only had this many matches. He only got this many shards. And I think that would make it very, very interesting, because then you can manage the team a lot better. I feel like they've updated the stats for like the regular game a little bit, but I feel like they need to update the stats for the team stuff. I really think that managing the team should be something that should be huge part of this game. And being able to see, well, this guy got this many shards, this guy got this many wins and losses, this guy got this many stuff. And being able to see that as like a stat that carries on all the time. So you can see, oh, this guy's getting a lot of shards all the time. Not just, you know, for that one time, but for the whole time. So you can get all those stats together for the team so you can see exactly how it is. I know right now you can screenshot it, save how many shards somebody got, but if you can save that, maybe it's the last event, right? Last event, those stats save in your bio, and they say, for the last event, he got this many shards, and this is what he did, and that's how it works. So I think that would be very, very interesting if you could update the team stats. And last, we have Adam Chapman coming back again. He had a very other good suggestion that said, also Hall of Fames and throwback cards pullable off the draft board. I really actually like that. I think that throwbacks and Hall of Fames could be pullable off the draft board, and that would make for some more interesting stuff. Right now, it's really the packs, and that's how you're going to be able to get them. But if you could pull them off the draft board, that would be very, very interesting. This would make for one of those things where you can continuously keep updating the Hall of Fame and updating the tiers, the packs, the pullable ones off the draft board with throwbacks in the Hall of Fame cards. I think that's pretty awesome because right now, as it is, like I said, it's those packs that you got to do, and that's how you get the Hall of Fames and the throwbacks. Sometimes they're out there in like events or like monthly thing. You'll have like, if you log in every day, you can get a throwback pack. That happened before, but I think what needs to happen is you just add those on there, and that'll go back to the main thing of like making that tier last longer and making it a lot more viable option. Make it harder to get to the plus rank. Make there be more cards in that tier and more unique cards that you're going to want to see. Plus, you get those throwbacks and the Hall of Fames that you can pull off the draft board. I think you're setting yourself up for success. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it today with this video. WrestleMania 35 should be coming out sometime soon in the future, and hopefully, just hopefully, we'll get some of these changes in there. These aren't some huge demanding changes like, oh, make it so that we can get free stuff all the time and blah, blah, blah. No, the majority of people want more quests all the time. They want to have belts as images. I know that's kind of a copyright thing, and maybe they can't do that, but maybe if they could, I don't know. We'll see. That would be something. And they want to get more money for their time played in this game. The time that they spend, and they spend their money on this game, they want to be rewarded for that. And that's the thing with WWE SuperCard that sets it apart with other games. These people are passionate about this game. We love this game, and we just want to get more for what we're doing. If I'm a WrestleMania 35 tier plus, and I'm not going to get any higher rank, what's the point of doing it? I think what you can do, like I said before, make the pros pretty easy to get, a little bit easier to get. And then once you get those pros, it's harder to level that pro up to the top, and it's harder to get to the top of plus. I think that's the reward there. You got to have a little risk versus reward, and I think that will pay off there as well. And then the other thing, you know, was the team changes, whether it be the team battleground stuff that we were talking about with sharing your charges to friends, or whether it be more stats just for your team, where you can see how many shards this person got and kind of recap the last event on your info on your player card. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any other suggestions, I would love to know. I could pass this on to Cat Daddy, and hopefully we can make the game awesome. As always, I'm TonyPizzaGuy. We will see you in another video.